Welcome back to Quick Films. Today I'm going to explain an Indonesian horror film called The Queen of Black Magic, released in the year 2019. Spoilers ahead, like the video and subscribe. The movie begins with a couple, Hanif and Naja, driving with their children Sandy, Dinah, and Haki towards Hanif's old residence. Turns out that Hanif is an orphan, and the family is on their way to meet his old caretaker, Park Bondi, who's now bedridden. While on the way, the whole family pranks the youngest kid, Haki saying he's adopted and he feels bad about it, but soon joins in on the fun. Suddenly, Hanif's car runs over something while he's distracted. They get out to inspect and find an injured deer lying nearby. Seeing this, they become sad but decide to move on. However, after they leave, we're shown an unconscious girl lying on the other side of the road. A while later, the family reaches the orphanage and the new caretakers, Maman and Siti, receive him. As they exchange pleasantries, Hanif's childhood friends, Anton and Jeffrey, also arrive with their wives, Eva and Lena. Everyone gets inside and learns that there are just two kids in the orphanage, namely Hasbi and Ronnie. Hanif inquires about the other kids, to which Maman replies that they're on a picnic and will return by the evening. Following this, Hanif goes to Bondi's room with his friends to meet his old caretaker. Unfortunately, the old man is gravely ill and is on the verge of death. On the other hand, Hasbi and Ronnie take the kids for a grand tour of the orphanage. Hasbi reveals that he has been in the orphanage since he was a little kid, while Ronnie's mother left her when she was 10 years old. Surprisingly, Hasbi's words offend Ronnie, and she says that her mother will return to take her back. While talking about their lives, the kids arrive at the room. Meanwhile, Haki finds a locked door in the hallway and gets intrigued. As he's about to open it, Ronnie stops him and mentions that the door has remained locked for the past 20 years. She then starts revealing the story about a woman named Mira, who used to be the orphan's caretaker several years ago. One day, Mira claimed that a girl named Murni had become possessed and tried taking her away. However, the others didn't believe her and locked her inside a room, claiming that she's gone insane. There, she kept banging the door with her head, requesting others to let her free. Sadly, before anyone could reach her, he had already passed away. After the incident, Murni disappeared from the orphanage, and the door remained locked throughout the years. Meanwhile, Hanif is having fun with his family and friends in Bondi's room as they share their memories and go through old pictures. While doing so, they find a picture of Mira and Murni together, and Hanif shares with everyone that she was a very lovely caretaker. However, one day she started behaving strangely all of a sudden, and Bondi was forced to lock her inside a room where she eventually died. After dinner, Hanif gets out to take some stuff from his car when he notices a blood stain on the bonnet with a cloth piece sticking out. He then remembers the accident from earlier and starts doubting if he hit a deer after all. Wasting no time, he heads to the accident spot along with Jeffrey, and they find the deer still lying down. The duo then wander around for a bit and eventually find the unconscious girl nearby. Here, it finally dawns on Hanif that he hit the girl, while Jeffrey assumes that she's dead. Meanwhile, Hanif finds a tour bus parked in the distance and learns that it's the same one that the orphanage children went picnicking in. Unfortunately, when he gets onto the bus, Hanif is shocked to see all the children and the driver dead with heavy injuries on their bodies. Jeffrey also gets inside, but even he cannot find any clues. Apparently, all the students have died with horrible injuries while still being seated. Hanif tries calling the police, but unfortunately, the mobile network does not connect. They think of going to the police station, but the nearest one is about 2 hours away. Left with no options, Hanif and Jeffrey plan to return to the orphanage and call the police from the landline there. Soon, they load the little girl's body in the car's trunk and drive off to the orphanage. After they reach, they find Anton waiting outside for them. Worried, he asks about their whereabouts, and when the guys show him the girl's body, he gets shocked. Hanif and Jeffrey then recap everything to their friend and revise their plan, but the guys feel helpless when Anton informs them that the landline is not working. Soon, they realize that the only way to contact the police is by driving 2 hours to the station, and Anton volunteers. They also decide to keep the recent happenings a secret from their friends and families. In the next scene, Anton leaves for the station and reaches the accident spot on his way. The sight makes him curious, so he decides to inspect the scene himself. Soon, he gets on the bus, but as he's observing the deceased bodies, the door behind him closes automatically. Suddenly, all the dead children rise from their seats and start approaching Anton. The latter gets scared and tries opening the door, but to no avail. Meanwhile, a woman in a black dress is seen in the bus's mirror, which causes the dead bodies to return to their seats. Just as Anton assumes that his nightmare is over, several insects appear on the bus. They then forcibly crawl inside Anton's mouth, killing him from inside. Back at the orphanage, Jeffrey and Lena get into a heated argument, after which Lena gets out of the room. There she finds an apple and starts cutting it with a knife. In the process, she stands in front of a mirror nearby and observes her reflection. For some reason, she dislikes her appearance and starts peeling her body with the same knife. Fortunately, Jeffrey arrives there and tries to stop her. As Lena comes to her senses, she falls unconscious after seeing her condition. Hearing the commotion, Hanif and Naja also arrive at the place, and they decide to escort Lena to the hospital as soon as possible. On the other hand, Eva is lying in her bed alone when suddenly some insects swarm her and crawl into her mouth. She struggles to get rid of the insects and gets out of the room, only to encounter Hanif, Naja, and Jeffrey with an unconscious Lena. Just then, Eva starts choking and vomits blood along with some strange insects. One of the insects crawls inside her arms, which scares her to death. She then scratches and pulls her skin to get the insect out, but falls unconscious. Hanif, Naja, and Jeffrey are taken aback by what they just saw and try to decipher the situation. Somehow, the trio manages to get the two unconscious girls in their car and drive toward the hospital. However, Naja soon realizes that they have been driving in circles for a while now. Meanwhile, Jeffrey shares that things are repeating, and Hanif informs his wife that something similar had happened 25 years ago. He tells her that a room had caught fire then, and 3 girls were unfortunately killed. The orphanage children learned that Mira practiced black magic and assumed that she was responsible for the girls' tragic death. Hanif, Anton, and Jeffrey had also learned the information and tried escaping. However, they kept going in circles and always reached the orphanage. Finally, with no choice left, the boys locked Mira inside a room as per Bondi's orders. After Mira passed away, she was buried inside the same room. Elsewhere, as Hosby is alone in his room, he suddenly feels like he has lost control over one hand. He then picks up a larger stapler with the same hand and staples his lips. Meanwhile, Hockey watches an old videotape of Mira in the next room. When the tape automatically turns off, he sees a severed head on top of the television. Hockey gets scared and runs off to Hosby's room, but gets horrified to see his stapled mouth. Suddenly, Hosby's hand starts working on its own again. This time, it picks up a gun and shoots the little boy twice, one on the shoulder and one on the leg, injuring Hockey. In the next scene, Hanif, Naja, and Jeffrey reach the orphanage again and decide to take their children away from the place. They get inside and gather everyone, but Hockey is nowhere to be found. Worried, they then begin searching for the little boy. Later, as Naja is sitting alone in the living room, she suddenly hears some strange noises. She follows the sound and reaches Bondi's room. Upon investigating, she finds a box under Bondi's bed with some pictures. Naja takes a look at the pictures and gets taken aback. She then takes the pictures to Hanif and shows it to him. Turns out that the picture are of little girls who are forced to pose in inappropriate ways. In one of the pictures, Bondi is seen with a camera, implying that he's an evil man. Meanwhile, Hanif finds Siti's picture among the pile and remembers that she is the one who invited everyone to the orphanage. When they confront Siti about the same, she confesses that Bondi has been molesting little girls in the orphanage. Siti also informs them that Mira was compelled to practice black magic as a last resort to save the girls. Unfortunately, she was locked to death before she could succeed. Here, it is revealed that Mira had found out about Bondi's intentions, so she was trying to get Myrni and the other girls away to safety. However, the cruel Bondi got wind of this and burned the girls alive. He then falsely accuses Mira of practicing black magic and locked her inside the room to death. The revelation devastates Hanif, as he starts blaming himself for helping Bondi lock up Mira. He also realizes that everything that has been happening is an act of revenge. Just then, the group finds a picture of Mira with a newborn baby, and this verifies that she is Myrni's biological mother. Because of this, Hanif deduces that it's Myrni who is behind all the black magic happening as of late. In the meantime, the little girl in Hanif's car trunk regains consciousness and gets inside the orphanage. The adults soothe the girl, Mustika, and ask about what happened at the picnic bus. Although scared, she reveals that the bus got into an accident while returning, and suddenly, a lady dressed in black entered the bus and started chanting something. The noise made every kid on the bus bang their heads. However, Mustika was unaffected as she was wearing headphones. She then got off the bus and ran to get help, but unfortunately, she was hit and knocked out by Hanif's car. After learning about everything, Hanif gets angry with Bondi. He then rushes to the old man's room and begins choking him, but Naja comes in and stops him. Following this, they try running away with everyone else from the orphanage. However, as they get outside, Eva gets possessed and starts banging her head voraciously on the car. Hanif calls out to Myrni and asks her to stop, but she appears in front of him and starts choking him. Nadja grabs a rod to save her husband, but Ronnie also gets possessed and knocks Nadja unconscious with a brick to her head. In the next scene, Nadja regains consciousness and starts searching for the others. Soon, she finds everyone under Murney's spell and gets terrified. Despite this, she tries to get inside to save her friends and family, but finds every door locked. With no other way around it, Nadja enters the same room where Mira was locked and finds many candles burning, making her realize that Murney is planning to perform some ritual. There, she tries to make Murney understand that Hanif and his friends made the mistakes unintentionally. However, Murney replies that although it was unintentional, the guys had committed a sin they must repay. Nadja then confronts her about the reason behind killing the innocent kids, and the latter tells her that death is better than being brought up in that orphanage. Following this, Murney throws a dagger near Nadja and asks her to choose between the safety of her kids and killing Hanif. Suddenly, Haki stabs Murney with another dagger from behind, but Murney finds her attacker and tries to kill him. But before Murney could do anything, Nadja beheads her. However, Murney reattaches her disjoint head to her body and resumes the attack. In an act of desperation, Nadja swiftly throws a burning candle at Murney and leaves the room with others. Soon, the fire engulfs the room, killing both Murney and Bondi. The movie then fast-forwards to a few months, where everything has returned back to normal. One day, when Nadja goes to pick Haki from school, she suddenly sees Murney in her car's mirror. However, when she inspects again, Murney disappears. The movie ends with the orphanage being sold to someone else, as Mira's footsteps echo in the building.